According to Skarbinski, about 70 to 80% of kids who join youth league sports drop out by the time they're 13 years old. But the Coach Safely Foundation hopes that more kids will take their shot at the next level.
That's right, I just stepped away from a press conference right here at Timberview High School. Now police say shots were fired at around 9:15 a.m. The fight broke out on the second floor of the high school. There were 4 total victims that we know of. 3 were sent to the hospital and 1 has refused treatment.
And during the little break, I thought I'd get my picture taken with Santa too.
Keith, anytime.
3 people are dead and more than 50 were injured after a train derailed on Saturday. According to Amtrak, the Empire Builder 727 was on its way from Chicago to Seattle when it derailed near Joplin, Montana. Injuries range from minor cuts and bruises to a couple head wounds. Montana Governor Greg Gianforte says 5 people remain hospitalized and are in stable condition. I'm standing outside Bryant-Denny Stadium where Alabama has sent its previous 3 quarterbacks to play in the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa has struggled to remain healthy in a short time with the Miami Dolphins. Tagovailoa was injured in Week 2 versus the Buffalo Bills after Bills defensive end A.J. Epenza drove him into the ground just 4 minutes into Sunday's game. He was seen being carted from the sidelines to the locker room where he was evaluated and diagnosed with fractured ribs. Backup Jacoby Brissett came in and finished 24 for 40 passing with 169 yards and an interception. The Bills defeated the Dolphins 35-0 on Sunday, but as for Tagovailoa, he will be out for this coming Sunday's game versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Reporting in Tuscaloosa, I'm Chris Daughtery.
This is the 13th year the West Alabama Humane Society is doing its Pets Portraits with Santa fundraiser. For just $15, you can bring in your fur baby to help support the shelter in its annual fundraiser. Betty Freeman is a volunteer who is helping organize the fundraiser. She explains that it is a great way to get a family picture for your annual Christmas cards.
She nips at our hands.
So it's a fun fundraiser. It's something fun you can do with the family to bring your pet down here and dress them up if you want to and have the picture made with Santa.
And during the little break, I thought I'd get my picture taken with Santa too.
Keith, anytime.
Megan Urg explains why she brought her pup Penelope up to Pet Supplies.
This little girl. I have a cat, and he's not, and he's not very nice, and she's just very friendly and super photogenic, so I wanted to bring her up here and get a picture.
The fundraiser is being held on December 3rd, 5th, and 8th, with 100% of proceeds going to the West Alabama Humane Society. Reporting for the University of Alabama, I'm Chris Daughtery.
Welcome to WVUA News at 10. I'm Chris Daughtery, and here's your evening news. Artist Travis Scott is covering the cost of funeral expenses after 8 people died during his Astro World Festival on Friday night. 25 victims were transported to the hospital, including 5 under 18. Ages ranged from 14 years old to 27 years old. A surge towards the gates left festival goers crushed to the ground and struggling to breathe. Now more than a dozen victims have filed a lawsuit against Scott and other festival organizers, claiming the show went on for nearly 40 minutes after the mayhem began and lacked a reasonable response time. Scott was arrested back in 2015 and 2017 after encouraging fans to jump barricades and rush the stage. City officials are beginning their investigation, but say it will likely take some time to collect and review all the interviews. Friday, November 8th, the White House will lift COVID-19 restrictions for fully vaccinated individuals traveling into the United States. The restrictions were first implemented nearly 21 months ago by then-President Donald Trump, restricting travel from China and later extending to dozens of other countries. British Airways CEO Sean Doyle says the lift on international travel into the U.S. will be a positive for everyone. The United States has allowed foreign air travel from more than 150 countries throughout the pandemic, a policy critics say made little sense when comparing infection rates from countries on and off the list. Americans traveling outside the U.S. will need to show proof of a negative COVID-19 test and will also have to follow restrictions of the country they plan on visiting. The House of Representatives passes a $1 trillion infrastructure bill on Friday night after months of deliberating. The bill would be the biggest upgrade of America's roads, railways, and other transportation infrastructure in nearly a generation. President Biden says signing the bill into law will also create jobs and boost the U.S. competitiveness. The infrastructure bill has passed with support of 13 Republicans in the House and 19 in the Senate. Democratic leaders had hoped to pass the second portion of the bill, as well as that would tackle more social safety nets and programs to fight climate change. That package would total $1.75 trillion and be the largest expansion of U.S. safety net since the 1960s. All right, we're back with sports, and what an eventful weekend we had. We'll start off with number 1 Alabama versus number 12 Ole Miss. There's Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin sharing a moment pregame. 2:27 left in the first. Bryce Young, 16-yard strike to John Mechie, tied up 7-0. Early in the second, Brian Robinson, 4th and goal, punching it in. Alabama cruising early, up 14-0. After adding another touchdown by Cameron Latou, Alabama's defense decided to get in on some of that fun. Fedarian Mathis with a strip sack of Matt Corral, recovered by Alabama. Just a dominant first half performance by Alabama's defense. And big Brian Robinson, 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half. Matt Corral not pleased being down 28-0 at the half. Today was Brian Robinson's coming out party. Another touchdown here as the Tide goes on to win 42-21. Nick Saban extends his winning streak to 24-0 against former assistants. Now let's switch it over to baseball. Giants versus the Padres. Giants trying to clinch the NL West away from the Dodgers for the first time since 2012. It took them all the way to game 162, but they got it done, routing the Padres 11-4. Logan Webb went 7+ innings, 6-hit, 4-run ball on the mound. He was huge for the Giants' push towards the playoffs this year. San Francisco finished the regular season with a Major League best, going 107-55. Now remember, this was arguably the best division in baseball, with the Dodgers right on their tail winning 106 games. San Francisco will play the winner of the Dodgers versus the Cardinals in the NL wildcard game on Wednesday. Now to women's basketball. We'll be under a new brand coming in March. The Women's Basketball Championship Tournament will be part of March Madness branding starting in 2022. The NCAA made the announcement on Wednesday. College basketball fans have been watching March Madness for many years, but the branding for the annual event never included the women's games. Officials say being part of March Madness will help raise more awareness and marketing for women's basketball. The women's Final Four is scheduled for April 1st through the 3rd in Minneapolis, and the men's national championship game is April 4th in New Orleans. Well, that's a wrap for sports. We'll be sending it back to the news desk.